Good afternoon, Science of Erdrick, and welcome to the first race of the group phases of our 2026 Summer Standard. We have a fantastic race between our 2025 champion Beta and a first-time racer in the Summer Standard Tournament, Judgejoe. Don't discount Joe. Joe did come out of the 2025 Winter League as the #1 seed from groups. So we could have an exciting race in our hands between these two. I'll be doing commentary this afternoon. I'm Andrew Dave. Joining me is our restreamer Camion Ren. And with these two runs, looks like we're going to have a lower start. But cat started screaming at me. I didn't want that to be too much. But our races are underway. In our first three chests, we get Dragon Scale that will help for early defense, some cash, and of course a key. Our runners are starting to return, so that key will be a spare key to be used elsewhere. We start with 20 HP in the middle of a swamp. This is the start we want with these runners. Since we have cash and a key, both runners are going to take that key, open the key door, and buy a whole ring of keys. With the spare, there's no reason to save and gamble on what the keys might be when you can just not. And in Tangential Basement is swamp. So Tangential just surrounded by swamp today. Swamp outside, swamp in the basement. We are going to look for our runners to see what's in the treasury. 4 boxes in here, hopefully something good for them. Token, that's one part of homework. A curse belt. Some wings. And a spare key. H start. Joe finds a ghost to start. Beta finding a scorpion. Saying, I'd rather not. And the ghost sends Joe home. Looks like ghosts are just punch. So, a good fight, and Beta with the crit getting through the first ghost. Following a time-honored strategy of just crit. I did see Beta put on the Dragon Scale. I'm not sure if Joe did. And Beta decides just crit is a great strategy. I'm gonna do it again. He's good enough for level 2. At 12 powers and 3 HP. That is 20 strength our runners will have. We are off, but the wizard says no. The wizard says crit this and sends Beta home. Magicians, feeling very vanilla today, they have hurt. Scorpions also have hurt with 20 strength. Beta's gonna take a swing at the Scorpion. Unfortunately, likely getting sent back. Gets through the Scorpion, and that'll be good for level 3. Joe also grinding in the same zone. 3 gives us 2-6-2-0. We don't have any MP, but we also don't have much to cast with that at no MP. Joe finding a red slime. This will be good. Get some one-shot. That'll be Joe's second red slime down. Joe gets through that ghost, and that'll be good for level 2. This will get Joe off to the races. That 12 strength is huge for getting a seat off the ground. Beta with that Scorpion gets to 4. Another 1 strength, 7 agility, 3 HP, 10 MP. Still no magic, aside from the stop spell return we started with. Wraiths have hurt more. One of them ambushes Joe and immediately says, "Go home." Scorpions also asleep to go with that hurt. Scorpions are... I think that's the first one we've seen. And we have a skeleton on Joe's side. Joe wants nothing to do with that. Joe, get out of there. That's not zone 1. That's zone 1 you're in. Actually, that's not even zone 1. That might be, that's a Druid Lord. That's not zone 1. That's, you're out in the wild. Agreed, Cherno. I thought it was zone 1 because I saw the skeleton. I said that before. Then I saw the Druid Lord. I was like, that's zone nope. Temptation looks like it's at the bottom of zone and maybe a bit to the western side of zone 0. Joe gets a Magic Draki down. That'll be good for level 3. And that additional Scorpion on Beta side is 5 over there. 3, 1, 6, 1. Still no new magic at level 5. Joe discovering the bad news. These Scorpions hurt. But gets through it. And pushes on to level 4. Both runners have decided these HP totals really is not worth doing too much deep exploration. Cherno, I would expect Beta probably 1 level to head out, depending on what the stats decide to do. It was looking promising when level 2 gave up a bunch of strength, and then just nothing afterwards. Low HP, we don't have any sustain. And you're sacking 4 of your HP every time you walk out of town. We have Joe taking Metal Slimes, Beta taking Magic Drakis. I see what Brian Williams' chat is saying. With the keyring, there's too many good things that could be to the west of town. It looks like we're gonna make a play to the west. Joe hits level 5. So we're even on levels, and it's cold to the west of start. And as Brian Wilmstead was saying, yeah, got 180 gold. See, in case there's a copper sword, there is not. So Beta decides to go clubbing instead. Joe gets sleep locked by a scorpion and sent back home. And it's something important in cold is not the key item we'd want to see right now. I think our runners would much prefer the sword from there. But the Stones of Sunlight still required to finish the game. Yeah, exactly, take loss mandatory, but meh. Oh, Wolves have DL2. We're getting some barbecue on now. Kima's also asleep. We've got a bunch of generally Zone 1 eligible monsters with nasty abilities. That said, that Kima will take Beta to 6, 1 power, 8 agility, 1 HP, 1 MP outside. That's not helping our cause much. Joe has decided to see what's on the other side of the swamp, and on the other side of the swamp is a giant desert, populated with metal slimes. And, things we'd rather not run into. Metal slimes, metal knights. And I'm a fan of metal, but not that kind. We're seeing very good use of this stop spell. Drakimas have a very high chance to sleep, it looks like. Joe continues to take on the various slimes and bats in the earlier zones. Joe remembers, I started with the Dragon Scale. I've been there. I think we all have. Looks like Beta's gonna make the play through Swamp while Joe is approaching level 6. One more Scorpion will get there. I believe on Beta side we just saw a whole lot of that swamp just leads to a big empty desert. So while this is technically 2 continents, this game is effectively a single continent map. That second continent was barely existed. not true, Ziggy. Quartz could be there, which is, of course, the funniest outcome. So I'm cheering for it. The treasury was a cursed belt, token, wings, and a key. So, not much you can use to set up a grind. Okay, the desert zone has a few decent monsters, and like if we had heard more, it'd honestly be. Looks like we're getting our first expedition to the east of Start, I think, and we find Big C, sort of. We find Big C, but we haven't found the entrance to Big C. Also to the east of Start is Tablet. Joe will be the first one to show us what's down there. What's the answer to this Start all along? Nope, just another key. I approve of that, Charlie. It's like, it's right there! It's right there, but you can't get to it. Beta is grinding. We're seeing Joe explore around, trying to not step too much into swamps, so we don't have any sustain. I don't think Joe's been in coal yet. I think if you have the gold, it might be worth the time to go grab a few herbs out of there. I know it's a hike to get to the item shop. Instead, we find another cave to the south and east. It's Freebie Cave. With gold. And we did see Beta hit level 7 off this grind, getting 10-3-1-1. That strength will help speed up the grinding a little bit. We're gonna see a slow gold grind. Uh, 1500 is enough for a broadsword. The hard part is going to be keeping it. This zone down here to the southeast, honestly, really good mid-game monsters. Joe does get sent home, but we'll be going home with 770 gold in his pocket. Unfortunately, we know that that the only weapon for sale in coal is a club. And we also know the path there is heavily guarded by wizards. So two different strategies in play. We've Beta taking the safer grind to 8 strategy, while Joe is playing a more aggressive line, which he is known for in multiple other randomizers, and is trying to push out and find value through exploration. And the Shadow jumps out of the desert to stop Joe's exploration. Beta's low on HP. Are we going to try to get to Cole and heal up? While you're here, I know I know it's a hike, but yeah, I think I want to see the play to get to the item shop and pick up a 6-pack of herbs. On Joe's side, the attempted southern expedition cut short, this time by a Druid Lord. I swear I know what monsters look like. Beta is loading up on torches. I'm guessing preparing to throw some sort of rave. Does see the large shield for sale and picks it up. That will shore up this defense a little bit. Joe probably breathing a sigh of relief that it was just homework and coal. RJ saying, Beta the expert knows if he took one step outside Cole, he was losing that money. Joe took one step outside Cole and lost that money. The Wizard was upset not being able to claim the 400 gold from Beta. Yes, Kegels, I agree. These runners could use more of everything. We've decided to start our summer tournament off with by denying our runners with a low power seed to challenge our runners. So what you're saying is just hurt more the Dragon Lord 3 times. Oh, Oh, we see an excellent move with his dodging over on Beta's side. Oh, sure no, Beta didn't abandon it, just crit strat. It got broken up by an evade. See, Beta has found a zone that has metal scorpions in it. So those torches aren't going to get put to use. Yeah, Dust Mask, I think that Task Guy cheats. Level 8 gives us 4002, and there's Hurt More. We don't have much of a stats, but we have the ability to handle much bigger fights now. Beta's going after bigger game now. Might want some revenge on those wolves, but the wolf says no, 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 no. I'm starting the barbecue here. Joe is settling in on a grind, decided this is not the seed for exploration and aggression. Everything is gated behind, well, pain and misery. So, honestly, what's that hurt more, knowing what we've seen on the other side of Swamp? Sniper. I get that, Sniper. The spike is one thing. I wouldn't mind just fighting on the other side of... on the desert on the other side. There were some good counters there with Hurtmore. The desert on the other side had some great Hurtmoreable encounters. And metal slimes. That is not a great Hurtmoreable encounter, but possibly a good grind later, given that it started up, that it's firing off baby breath. Joe does reach level 7 on his grind, and he's going to try exploring to the north. And as Ziggy says, the data is good if it kills you, and in this case the data is Blue Dragon's a baby breath, so they're a potential grind target later. I think what Joe found just loops around and comes back down to comes back down to call. So the north doesn't leave us much. And we're seeing the Hurtmore getting leveraged on Beta's side. One more encounter, as long as it's something that you can hurt more, will be enough for us to see level 9. The troll takes swing and stop spell doesn't get much, or it doesn't do much. And level 9, we see. We see 92180 after my headset decides to turn off. There we go, Joe finding poltergeists on the other side. I know there's wolf lords over here. There are metal slimes, axe knights. Yeah, so this continent is haunted. This is the place where all the fallen signs of Erdrick ended up. A handful are very vengeful after getting roasted by wolves. We've switched from just crit to just get dodged as the strat. It's a far less effective one. I chuckle a little bit every time I see the outline of Big C show up there, knowing that the entrance is elsewhere. And apparently magic dragons have heal more. I think it's the first time we've seen them use it. Beta finds a very thin strip of bridges. You know there's going to be value across that. Whenever you see that little tiny strip of land, there's always never something across that. Was I saying there's always value? No, you didn't actually hear that. There's no value across it. What is across it is Red Dragon Land. So across that tiny strip of land, there was no value, but there was the Fun Police HQ. Exactly, Sniper. There's always value behind those single strips until chomp. Beta 640 finds a cave. I believe that's the tablet cave. No, sorry, it's a freebie cave that Joe had found earlier. Right, tablet cave is to the northwest of Charlock. Ziggy, you know I'm playing all too well. That's happened to me multiple times in races where I missed a single strip, a single square wide path, missed it, and it had, say, a jerk cave behind it or a charlock behind it. Beta wants nothing to do with wizards. I don't think I've seen anybody there than bonk and bonk more, but how do we plan on killing a wizard? And both runners back in that start. Oh, Joe back in the starting zone looking to get level 8. We know level 8 will be value. Beta is 129 XP from 9. He's hit cold for a refill. We are completely tapped dry. Okay, we got 1 hurt more left, which we use on this ghost, or on this wolf. Because we know wolves decide to invite everyone to the barbecue. Yes, true, ghost wolves. I saw a ghost on one side, a wolf on the other, and mashed them together. So we're now inviting runners to the spookiest of barbecues. Okay, yeah, Sniper. Ghost Wolves does sound like a Scooby-Doo villain. Somehow you get golf. It's worse. Ziggy, it's not just golf, you end up with Super Battle Golf. And Joe, one XP point from me, so naturally everything's gonna start running. There's level 8, which will break Joe out, getting hurt more. I know Joe's seen a few good zones for hurt more. Let's see if he remembers them. Beta gets walloped all the way back to Hazel by Stoneman, while Joe goes for a swim in the swamp. Yeah, I think Joe remembers that the back of the other side of the swamp has Axenites in it, or in that zone. There's also a solid zone to the southeast of Start. The problem with most of those zones is there's no good place to refill your MP nearby. Beta does make it to level 10 with 11, 1, 0, 13. That is 3 more casts of hurt more I just saw. We're gonna check the spike first. Joe's gonna see the blue dragon there. Likely going to get baby breath and then sent home. Or successfully run away after knocking back attack. That works too. The Stone Man, however, finishes the job. Beta sees the trolley Charlock. I believe that's his first time up in this little corner. See that while you can see the big C, you can't get in it. Yeah, we're just gonna outside from swamp. And Joe's going to the deserted continent, hunting Axenites. Beta's put his waders on and is going through going through one of the larger swamps to the east. Ooh, Wraith Knights on that little deserted island. Those are also solid hurt more targets. Until they do that. Agreed, Ziggy. We've seen what? We've seen swamp, tablet, stones, and coal. Our exploration has been slowed down a bit by the lack of sustain and HP on these that we've had, and well, what's happening in beta right now. This is just a rude overworld. Joe finds Knights, also a great hurt more target. Ooh. Later on, golems, if you find a golem on a spike, it could be a good grind fight. That was hurt on a golem. Joe has found the Fun Police HQ. Gets in, and then the officer says, "Where are you going?" as Joe tries to leave. Where are you? Yeah, as Chad's saying, the XP lead right now is betas, but that's given that no one's found anything about this map yet. It's going to come down to who finds the towns and all the towns first. As Joe does catch up to level 9. Finding the nice bit of HP that will help keep our runners alive as we try to explore. I think both runners, not only are they trying to explore, they're also trying to find a decent grind zone that they can leverage this hurt more against. We just haven't seen it. I'm fairly certain the best hurt more grind zone is to the southeast. But even that's a bit of a hike. Beta is effectively one fight away from leveling, if he can get through the Spectre. Oh, that's going to be a fairly easy take. Level 11 brings us 12 power, 34 HP, 8 MP, and heal. Now we're out of jail. Joe gets hurt more resisted by a Wraith Knight, which turns around and flambees him back home. That extra HP immediately coming in handy on Beta's side as a wolf ambushes him and takes away a large chunk of it. I think Joe remembers seeing good encounters on the way down this way. Beta with that large chunk of HP and proper sustain has decided to go exploring. Starts going to the west, realizes, no, that's Fun Police land, I don't want to be there. You just showed up. The big thing about there was the stats were atrocious for the first until at level 7. Hurtmore was at 8, but there was nothing really worth. None of the big Hurtmore targets were around. Fun Police are doing their thing. Beta with 42 agility gets away from the police. No, that's the freebie cave we saw much earlier. We've seen coal and effectively nothing else location-wise. Hurtmore was level 8. The siege was a full struggle bus until then. And the DL2 we see on Beta's side is pretty much everything you know about this. That Wolves, which is normally a solid early game enemy, have the ability to ambush and send you home. Yep. 50% fire. We do know that level 11's our breakout level, because that gets us heal and more than enough HP to actually properly explore. This seed is just... This is not a big swamp seed, it's just a seed that has a lot of swamp. Joe goes for a swim in the swamp because he was nearly out of HP anyway. Unfortunately, we know he's going to need 2 more levels before he can start healing. Yeah, that's advantageous. There was the Wraith Knights on the other side of swamp have sleep. I don't think Joe found the outside. I think there's... So it looks like there's 2 separate zones on the other side of swamp, and it might be the more western one has Axe Knights. There's the 11103 level for, or 13 level for Joe. That we're starting to get our strength online. And Beta found a town, and naturally it's Hawk's Nest. Joe's a stone man, because it's the funniest thing that could be here. Honestly, chuck 2 herbivores and hope he can get the kill. We know blue dragons will sometimes baby breath. Get through it. In Hawks is vanilla armor. Also in that corner, we have Mountain. And the Star Wyvern will be enough to show us level 12. That was 01038. 33, sorry, You're right, Cherno. And Mountain with the sword, so we suddenly went from what is geared to sword and armor in the span of about a minute. Joe has reached level 10. We know he needs one more to get heal and really got inspiration on. Finally has got the coal with a handful of money. He's going to pick up some herbs. However, there is someone in front of him in line at the shop. Petition for Y remove just for exactly that one guy. So get all the way to the southeast of the map and you find both pieces of Erdrick. Go north along the coast, we find another town. We know this has to be a real town. Well, okay, we know this has to be an inn attached to a cardboard cutout of a town. In all seriousness, you're very happy to see any town here when you're completely dry on MP. Joe attempting to push out to the southeast again, walking by Talbot Cave, or Stone's Cave. Unfortunately gets dodged by the skeleton. And Beta has found the winding path that is required to get to the actual Charlock front door. Maybe this Charlock would be easy to get to. Just go over to Z1R and borrow their ladder. Joe has found will be a good grind zone for this Hurtmore, and this Wraith Knight leaves you 13 short. So yeah, even if you die here, you just go for a quick little wade. You're 13 away. Find a Scorpion near start, and you're 11. That gets you heal, and you are off. Also on that winding path, all the way at the end of it, is our jerk. He is living up to his name with that location. Joe discovers the massive amount of HP and heal at level 11. With the sword and armor in hand, time for some vengeance on these wizards. Wizards, honestly, as long as they don't have any sort of nasty ability, one of the best monsters to run into a world. They are squishy. They're squishy and they give a good amount of XP for their difficulty. Exactly, Cherno. They have low HP. They have, as long as you have enough attack to get through, they have low HP. Their defense isn't the best. Their attack power, honestly, isn't that high. I think they're the weakest of the Charlock enemies. With decent attack, you usually take in 1 to 2 swings. Or 2 swings. We do see a Death Necklace and a Heart pickup in the back of Garanham. So we know that chords, if they exist, can only be the flute. And with the harp turning in the back of Garanham, Grave is no longer in play. So we are going to see Beta get very well acquainted with a blue dragon. We have seen Swamp Spike, it's a blue dragon. We've seen Hawk Spike, it's a blue dragon. Joe taking a nice walk with heal. I believe this is the same walk Beta took to get to that blue dragon. Or to get to the Hawk's Nest and Mountain Cave combo, which gives us sword and armor. Yeah, we're on the East Coast. We know north from here will lead to Breck, and south will lead to the sword and armor. Or the officer will lead you back to start. Beta does find a zone that includes Axe Knights, Druid Lords, Spectres. Honestly, pretty solid zone for Hurtmooring. We're going to explore the northwest, and we see two towns. I believe this has to be Cantlin and Grave. Unfortunately, we know both of these are dead. Oh, I forgot Rim was still out there. We had keys super early, I just forgot Rim existed. Beta does hit 13 off this grind, giving us 8, 6, 7, 10, and sleep. Death Necklace can't be on coordinates. Death Necklace is in Garenham. The only thing that could possibly be on coordinates is Flute. We've already found all 3 pieces of homework, sword armor, and death necklace. The Stone Man sends Joe home, and that may be the best thing to happen to him. No, the Stone Man is, The Stone Man is telling you, go somewhere else. Beta usually just crit strats on his Druid Lord. That Druid Lord knows what it did. Knight, I don't know if you have audio, but Armor was in Hawk's Nest, Sword was in Mountain Cave. Both of them are in the southeast corner of the map. And right next to each other. Joe heading back up to Grave. Unfortunately, we know there is the most that could be in there that'd be useful is the Fighter's Ring. Yeah, one of the blues is in the swamp, which is in the basement. We're going to see a second dive in the grave. That unfortunately we know the ring and the flute are the only two things that could be down here. Beta continues the grind in this desert. We have Druid Lords and Axe Knights here, so still a decent zone. Joe's in the grave getting attacked by the darkness. Unfortunately, there's not a magic missile to use on it. Quinn Patrick, I would say that's an ancient reference, but that reference is about as old as Dragon Warrior, so yeah. Fortunately, we have a torch, so it's fine. Wait, Zork is like 10 years older, isn't it? Gabriel, Joe got near the area? And then went north instead of south and got chomped by a red. Beta does pick up heal more at 14. Joe gets 12 with that Armor Knight down. Unfortunately, 2 steps away from the final chest, gets attacked by an AK. And it looks like we're going back to that... No, we're not. Thank you, Turno. A 1-1-13-0 Radiant Heal more at that level. Golems, I thought had a chance of being a good grind, but when I saw the hurt, but that sleep with it makes it less good. This has got to be a 4-1 grind. With this stat line, you're not digging out the fighter's ring. True. We don't know how resistant Stotsfell Golems rolled. Joe's going to continue exploring up here. I think Kalen's the only thing we could find in this direction. Maybe we are just trying to dig out some treasure from here. These are not the stats for actual fights. We might just try and dig out the fighter's ring. This might not just be a fighter's ring check, this may also be scouting to see just how stinky the castle is. And once you're off the first floor, it doesn't seem that bad. We do see Star Wyverns down here with Baby Breathless. So they're not... A stop spell Baby Breath on Star Wyverns, those are completely fine. Beta is down to the U. We're going to see... We're going to see what's at the bottom. Oh, see, this Charlock is just lulling Beta into a false sense of security. It's going to show all the nice easy encounters, give you the hero walk on the die that you're not taking the fight, and the die where you're actually planning to take the fight, it's Red Dragon City. Ah, Cypher gets it! In the Pyramid Game, we have ourselves nothing. The Fighter's Ring. Nothing, so it's 2 herbs in there. Fairy Water. Money. And a torch. Because very likely coordinates are live and have the flute. You do get a level 110, 16-9 repel at 15. 15 is not go, we gotta go to 16 at least. Joe finds Breck. Unfortunately, we know the answer is to go south rather than north from here. We do see a Copper Sword Large Shield pickup. And we know, given the logical path taken so far, that Joe is very likely going to find Garanham with the Trojans before finding the sword and armor. As the logical path, if you've explored north to find this town and Charlock entries, to keep going north. So, with what Joe knows, north is the correct play from here. Oh, we're going south instead. Ah. Yep, and here's the path that's going to take Joe to the trade-ins, which, again, you made the left turn coming off that, or coming at that fork. You want to see what's all on the left first. Beta contemplating options here and says nope about this golem. And decides I've had enough of this dive. Joe, it's 13. Picking up sleep. That's an interesting little landmass here. It's like some sort of mirrored Cape, or some sort of mirrored rotated Cape Cod going on up there. We have not seen Cantlin. It's very likely, given everything we've seen, that chords are just going to lead us to the flute. And the Axe Knight ambushes Joe and sends him back. For his sake, that may send him in the other direction, coming off that fork, which will lead to the armor and sword. Sorry for the pause there, I don't think you needed to hear sirens going by. For those who knows where some police chasing someone down. As Beta choosing to grind on the top floor of Charlock, we're going to at least 16 here because 66 MP is not spark joy for this fight. Fairly certain it looked like a red dragon. I know this walk all too well. This is the what have I missed walk. This Stone Man will Level beta to 16. Is 16 our go mode? We get 3, 6, 19, 1. No, it's not. We are well within Death Necklace territory, so we have 138 attack. But 9 to 19 with 8 heal mores is not a reasonable fight yet. Joe gets to the southeast corner of the map and discovers Hawk's Nest. And is going to discover the news that this is where Armor's been hanging out. Or the Blue Dragon could decide to be a jerk and resist 2 hurt mores. And there's the armor pickup. The good news for Joe is that the sword is the first chest in Mountain. And given that all the mapping Joe's done, I think he knows the answer to the rest of the seed has to be to the north of Breck. You're at hour 23, and I don't think you're quite panic mode that you haven't seen it done yet. This golem grind on top of Charlock has been paying off, but these golems have to low roll their stop spell resist. So one more golem after this, and we'll see what 17 brings us. Like, say, this golem right here. $25 sleep, 50 hurt, and okay, 1 in 4 stop spell resist. That tracks with about what we've seen beta hitting. That does bring us to 17, and 17 gives us another 4 power, 1 agility, 25 HP, 8 MP. That's go! There's enough HP that you can Death Necklace and still very reasonably get doubles. No point in getting Fairy Water. 78 defense is not breaking anything in Charlock. Assuming the Death Necklace goes on, Beta will be doing 10 to 21 damage, so we'll need, on average, 10-ish swings to kill. 10 to 11 swings to kill with 9 heal mores. This is very much Ascend It. Joe gets to 14, finds heal more. I think that was a miss menu. Joe needs to get back to Breck and head north. He is very, very close. He's close to putting the whole puzzle together. As you get the harp, you get Death Necklace, and you get the harp turn-in all in Garanham. What happened to Joe? Joe played a fairly aggressive line at the start, and Joe played a much more aggressive exploration line at the start, and there was just no value to be found anywhere. And for those who have played other randos with Joe, he plays extremely aggressively. This seed was not the seed for that. I said there are other seeds where that kind of play pays off in spades. Like, let's say that early exploration and finding Freebie Cave yields an armor or a sword. This is a very different race we're looking at. Well, the not finding a close herb source until 30 minutes in was more Wizards kept saying no. Our final spike is an Arbor Knight this seed. Joe is heading in the direction that will lead to the final Trading Cave and Garanham. Beta puts on the Death Necklace, and we are off. We don't care about these hurt mods. That HP is going away anyway at the start of Phase 2. Beta's going to be starting their Phase 2 with full HP, too. Gets back attacked by the Dragon Lord, still has 88 HP. Swinging in for a big 20 to start. We are at 38 total. $51. We've got a double here. We're up to 63. That double pretty much seals the fight. 74. We're looking at 84. $101. We still have 4 heal mores to go. As 113. $130. We're at 130 with 3 swings to go, minimum of 10 damage. 146. This is now guaranteed, barring a miss menu. And get your GGs out for Beta, who will be winning the first race of our Summer Standard tournament. Picking right up where he left off at the end of 2025. Joe is exploring the top floor of Charlock at least, and finds the golems that are relatively straightforward fights. I don't know if he's seen Sleep yet. Saying Stop Spell hasn't come out, I'm guessing no. Ziggy Joe oftentimes doesn't. I know he has limited monitor space. And we're joined by today's winner Beta. GG's Beta.
Thank you. I feel like luck was very strongly involved in that seed. I think I played it reasonably well, but obviously double hurt mooring a blue dragon in Hawksness to get the armor, and then walking out of there, and then full clearing Mountain Cave, which had the sword. That felt like it was basically the entire seed right there.
Yeah, it took... Honestly, you were the first one there by quite a bit. There was... How are you liking the start of that, power-wise?
I actually liked the start of that seed a lot because we really couldn't go anywhere. I mean, you could try, but why would you? Because there were bottlenecks everywhere you went. Like if you went to the right, it was all swamp. If you tried to go south, it was all swamp. If you tried to go up and to the left, there was a zone that was a choke point with wizards and something else in it. And then just trying to get to Cole, which was the first town, there was that zone with wizards in it as well, which I was grinding for a long time because it also had Druid Lords in it. So we were pretty much forced to just sit tight, and I kind of feast on those starts because it really forces you to think about what you're doing and think about your resource use, like trying to save up gold. Like I was very intentionally getting belts and then with the plan to defense break the zone 2 stuff, which would have been great, but Wolves had DL2.
Yeah, and those dwarves were also guarding Cole.
Yeah, they were sitting in front of Cole. Wizards were also there. It might have been a different zone, but there were wraiths over there too, and they had hurt more. So it was just like the first 30 plus minutes was just a lot of walking back and forth and suffering and not really being able to do anything because like Cole only had a club. I thought about getting torches at some point, and then I eventually did, but it was like, is there really much of a point in getting torches and having to do that walk to that shop repeatedly when you have to use 3 torches to kill one thing? It's like I ultimately decided just chopping things down at the club was a little bit better than trying to do that.
Yeah, I guess if that time had been Garen Ham, the torch play would have been more attractive.
Yeah, the walk around to the shop in Cole is just awful. I mean, even if you don't get blocked, it's at least 30 seconds to do that walk, which is just... You really don't want to do that unless you absolutely have to, and it's your only path forward, and... Because the defense was coming along just enough with, like, the large shield, and eventually I had chainmail, but for a long time I had a leather armor and a scale, I think, and then I had the large shield after I swapped the belts and barely made it in there with my gold at one point, but, yeah, I think the beginning of the seed was pretty straightforward, but awful, and then the middle portion of the seed was extremely difficult, because even though we got hurt more, like, we couldn't heal for a really long time, and we had very limited resources, and the bulk of the map had... It seemed to be very polarized. Like, you'd either see a Droll Magi, a Druid Lord, or it was Sharlock tier stuff. Like, I somehow ran from multiple red dragons, even though my agility was like 50, so maybe the DK theory of agility is true. I don't know. But it was just a very challenging kind of luck box type of seed, honestly. Like, this could have easily been an async with how stupid it was.
The armor was outside Sharlock, so it couldn't have been any of the first asyncs.
Yeah, but it was in the... Like, it was in the bottom right corner. Like, I think we started kind of... I think we were fairly close to the top, but basically dead center of the map. So it was a long walk down there.
From what I saw of your mapping, that seems about right. So... Ziggy and Chad had a question for you.
I don't have Chad up, so you'll have to tell me what the...
How much does your personal hatred of blue dragons lead you to not boop the baby breath blues?
Well, I don't know if anybody noticed, but, like, I think it was the first one I saw. I threw Stop Spell and it landed, so that made me assume it had a healing ability on the back end of it, like either heal or heal more. I don't know, because I never really fought them. And when I started my endgame grind, I didn't have heal more yet either. And the last thing I really want to do is do a spike grind on a blue without heal more when I think HP at that point was like just above 90. Attack power wasn't that good either. I think it was like around 120. So it just... Every choice at that point in the seed felt bad to me, and since I already had the rainbow drop, since Sharlock was far away, I felt like a positional grind was the way to go, and then the moment I learned Heal More, I was just going to go straight into Charlock, see what was there, and hope that I had a high-value enemy, which turned out golems were great. I mean,
Yeah.
I did miss Stop Spell occasionally on them, but they were only like 25% sleep. They were probably 75 hurt, so I still cast Stop Spell on them to be extra careful because I didn't want to sleep lock. I almost had a situation there towards the end where I wanted to see what the spike in Charlock was, and I was taken down to like 22 HP on a golem, and I was almost out of resource, and I decided to run an outside to maintain position, and that worked out, so I felt really good about that choice.
That was an interesting choice of grind.
Yeah, I mean, prior to Heal More, unless you have a Hurt More spike that is either close to start or close to a town, there's not a lot you can do. And we weren't defense breaking anything either, so I was like, okay, I need to find something that's at least reasonable that's near a refill. And I was next to Breckenary, so I was testing out the zones over there. As soon as I saw that Axe Knight in the desert, I was just like, okay, I'm just gonna stay here. I know this isn't perfect, but it's a good positional grind. At least I have an Axe Knight that's going to show up once in a while. There were also Druid Lords in that zone, which were decent. So that felt fine enough. And then once Healmore came, I just went straight to Charlock. And Charlock was, I mean, it wasn't perfect. I mean, there were stone men everywhere, because of course there were. But, like, Wizards, fine. Golems, great. I wasn't all that unhappy with the options in Charlock, and I certainly didn't want to go back home and have to make that long walk over to the right side again, because we had to go south, like, I think a screen or two in order to go to the right and then come back up to the north, and then it's like back to the left. It's just awful.
Did you at least laugh as much, or get a good chuckle out of the, oh hey, we can big C, but the entrance is over there?
I mean, with the way that map felt to me at the start, like I kept running into coasts and have these weird winding paths to get to things, I was like, I kind of expected that, to be honest. I never saw Cantlin. I'm guessing it was in the upper left chunk of the map somewhere, but I never saw it.
We never saw it here. Joe did explore to the upper left and found Grave and Rim up there.
Oh yeah, I never saw those either. I mean, I was like, okay, it's probably in the upper left somewhere. I mean, I got killed by something when I was trying to walk the bottom of the map on that weird little lengthy peninsula. Maybe it was hiding down there somewhere, but yeah, it would be a very interesting scenario if the search was required, because I would still be playing that stupid seed if it was.
There was a strip of land to the north of Rim that neither of you got to. It's likely up there.
Okay, I mean, like, my thought when I was doing my exploration, when I somehow stayed alive to get armor and sword, and then make that walk up to Breckenary, and then it's just like, everything just, when you play Seed and everything lines up like that, you feel really good about it, but you also feel really lucky, because it's just like, everything just lined up. It's like, when I entered Garum, I'm just like, okay, I hope the harp is in here, and I hope the staff cave's in here, and then I can just backtrack to the Rainbow Drop and start grinding. That's exactly what happened. I was like, wow. So yeah, the way things played out, I mean, it was a suffer start, but the Seed, the way it played out felt really good to me. Like, I don't imagine how it could have gone much better, to be honest. Like, I don't think there was a realistic way to get down to that blue dragon and get the armor any faster than I did, because it's just like, there weren't any really easy options at the start. Like, what else are you gonna do? Like, there's no good weapon available in Cole. Like, getting to this mystery Rimmildar and Cantlin, like, that walk wasn't safe. I think I died to an Armored Knight when I tried to go up the left side of the map, like, 30 to 40 minutes in, so I can't imagine the Seed having gone any better than it did for me.
No, and you played it extremely well. Just, and like you said, you couldn't have gotten there much faster, and honestly, even if you could have gotten there faster, you're not getting through that blue dragon without hurt more.
Yeah, that's especially true if it happened to have like a heal more on the back end. Like it's unclear because, as everybody knows, even if it doesn't have a spell ability, there is a 1 in 16 chance you can just randomly land your stop spell and be fooled into thinking, oh, it's got a spell ability on the back end. So maybe it didn't have a spell ability, but since my stop spell landed on the first try, I'm just assuming it had some sort of healing, and without hurt more, you're not getting it early, and otherwise you're waiting until later to get it. Like maybe you go into mountain first and get the sword and then crit. That's basically your only two options, because like heal came so late and heal more came very late. So it's like, what are you gonna do? You're gonna go to the blue dragon without the ability to heal, and you're gonna rely on herbs and try to try to crit farm and run away if it doesn't happen in the first couple turns. I mean, that doesn't seem particularly good, especially when it's that long of a walk to get down there.
Yeah, on any failed run, you could just be making a trip back home.
Yeah, it's like every fail case is just a massive time sink, so it's... Yeah, I mean... I felt good about how things went. I mean, if I failed the blue dragon fight, I mean, I could just go back down in that direction and explore again, and then open with stop spell under the assumption that it has heal and try to get through it that way. I mean, it's like, I had options to fall back on if that didn't work. And of course, if I had died in mountain prior to getting sword, I would have gone straight back there, because that's 5 chests. It's the most valuable thing I had seen all seed, so... Like, once I saw what was in that corner, I was gonna beeline back there regardless of what happened.
Right, and you knew the corner had to extend north because it had to lead to the Charlock entrance.
Yes, that's exactly right. I mean, I went to the second continent and it was like... What was it? Like...
One desert.
30 tiles of nothing? Like, it was a heck of a continent.
We connected the swamp cave to a small deserted island.
So do these super smart people in chat have any more questions for me? Anything else? Anything else that these people need to know?
I haven't seen anything else. Do you have any last comments on this seed?
It was a seed of all time. I mean, if I had to choose a type of seed to get when I'm racing people 1v1 in the tournament, I would much rather have something like this, where it's difficult right off the bat, where you have to really think through what you want to do, and you have to be very disciplined in when you decide to push out and how you decide to do it, as opposed to getting these pants on fire seeds, as I call them, where you start with the sword, or you start with hurt more, or you have access to, say, an easy mountain cave or grave, get an instant gold grind, and you have flame sword, silver shield, magic armor. I would much rather have a deliberate type of seed like this, where you have to be very aware of what you're doing at all times, because if you play it a little sloppy, you're donating several minutes each time you make some sort of stupid decision or series of decisions, just because of like how far we had to go to get to basically anything in this seed, and how quickly resources got drained on the way to those locations. So yeah, I would much rather have something like this versus like a hour 5 early hurt more type of seed where everything is just straightforward and it's just like, oh, just go the right way, get your get your 3 things on the 2 screens to the right of start instead of wasting time going the opposite direction. You know, I prefer stuff like this where it's a bit of a sufferfest, and it's not like it was something where it was blatantly unfair to us, where everything had DL2 breath or anything like that. It was just what I would describe as garden variety difficult, where you had to be mindful of what you were doing. And this is the sort of thing that I actually like to play. Stonemen notwithstanding, both spike grinds being stupid blue dragons notwithstanding, this is the sort of thing that I strongly prefer to get in the tournament. And I think most of the other top runners would agree with me on that one.
I think it's even a bigger advantage if you're playing against someone who comes from other randos where the more methodical gameplay gets you punished.
Yeah, I would say that's true. This is something where you basically get a feel for it through experience, where you just, as you play more seeds, you get a sense of. I don't really know how to describe the thought process from start to finish, but it's just like you start to get an instinctive feel for how a seed is going to go based on what you're seeing initially. Where it's like if you start seeing all of these stupid abilities coming out from the early monsters and the early grind, you're seeing sleep from, we were seeing sleep from a lot of their sleep hurt was a common thing in this seed. I don't know why. Even golems had it. You're seeing it from the scorpions, seeing it from the magidrakes. It's just like the things you wanted to sit on and grind were just spamming that nonsense all day long. But you just, as you play more seeds, once you play a few dozen of these things and you get a bigger variety of the different scenarios, you really start to get a sense of how you should proceed pretty early on in the seed. So it's like, the way I play these seeds is based on what I'm seeing initially, what our stats are, whether or not we have hurt more, whether or not we have sword. All these things dictate how aggressively I push at the beginning. And it's like, when you have hot garbage like this, most of the stronger runners in this game will have the sense that when they see a start like this, they just buckle down and they're just like, all right, there's no reason to push, because it's like you go a screen in each direction, you don't see anything of value, you get coal, but that doesn't really help you much, and you just sit tight and you just wait for a better opportunity to come along.
Oh, that makes perfect sense. Now we do see Joe finishing up the Dragon Lord.
So if there's nothing more for me, I'm gonna go grab some lunch. I'm kind of hungry. I didn't eat before this race.
All right, well, enjoy your lunch. And GG's.
Thank you. Have a good one, guys.
And we're joined by Judge Joe. GG's, Joe.
Thank you. The seed didn't quite win.
That's the important part. So, I gotta ask you, what are your thoughts on waiting in line at Cole?
I finally decided I'd go and buy some herbs. I then decided I'm not buying herbs. Overall, I guess the play was just grind on scorpions till level yes, and you get hurt more, and then you can start going bits and pieces and getting some levels.
Yeah, that's exactly how Beta played it. He decided to start in pretty much did exactly that round to hurt more. Is there? I know how you play. You want to aggressively push out and see if you can find value.
I also got baited by the one metal slime. I'm like, maybe if I go and get lucky, I can go and kill a couple metal slimes on the other side of swamp. No, there was one. I don't know where the rest went.
I think there were maybe 2 or 3 zones in that desert area because I saw at least 6 different monsters up there. So it couldn't have been all one zone.
Yeah, I know the bottom part was a zone, but other than that, and then to the east, I think was a zone, but I thought I was getting the metal slime and just couldn't find them again. Not a lot of great grinds. I wasn't enthused between Stoneman and Blue Dragons.
Yeah, as we saw, the Blue Dragons were 75% baby breath, and that's it. So, but you took the same grind Beta did, just walked into Charlock and started fighting.
And a couple red dragons outside, because reds, once you have the HP, were just kind of nice. But yeah, where were coordinates, or did we ever find Cantlin?
No one found them.
This was a map. It was weird.
Cantlin was buried. Fortunately, we know the only thing that could have been on coordinates is flute.
I'm pretty sure I had triple curse belt, so it was flute, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, this one wasn't this was one to try and get the win on, but not necessarily expectation, so just need to get it on the next couple to get out of groups.
Yeah, that's the best way to look at it. You got a few you can give. And I know this was a start that really punished you if you tried doing any sort of early exploration, because there was just swamp and angry monsters everywhere outside of the starting zones.
Yeah, I think the metal scorpions in that one corner were also then paired with something mean, so even if I had found that corner earlier, I don't think it'd have helped. That must have been a fairly central Tandagil then, maybe a little on the east side, but
yeah,
I kept thinking I was going to have more space to explore, and then I kept running into a corner and then a corner, and I'm like, I didn't think I was that close to a wall.
Beta and I were discussing this. It seemed like Tandagil was kind of central with a little bit to the north, probably about 15 or so squares north of center.
So coordinates probably could have been decent to count if you found it.
Yeah, but honestly, given what was on coordinates, for the best that you didn't find it.
Well, hope it was a fun race, even though I was definitely behind for a pile of it, but thank you for putting on the restream.
If you watch it back, you'll see Beta decided to use the just crit strat to get off level 1.
That's fun strat. There should also be some fun races tonight to watch.
Oh yeah, we got a 4-way race tonight, don't we? If I were smarter about things, I would have it up already. Oh, that's the roster. You know better.
Looks like Cerno versus Zatrex paired with DK versus Kigulus, if I'm not mistaken.
You're ahead of me. Sign-up sheet, that's what I was looking for. Yes, it's Cerno versus Atrix and DK versus Keglos happening at 9 o'clock Eastern on Dragon Warrior Randomizer. Both races will be restreamed simultaneously, so they will be running one seed. And before that happens, we're going to have 3 other races going on today that are not going to be on the restream. We'll have Quinn Patrick versus Billick at 7 Eastern, Aaron 2U2 versus Yakowak with 20 at 8, and the American Dream versus Edge also at 8. So even if they're not being restreamed, feel free to go to their Twitch channels and watch them race.
With that, I'm gonna go and get some food. Hope everyone enjoyed, and thanks for watching.
Enjoy the food, Joe. And that'll do it for us for the kickoff race of this tournament. And as Joe had alluded to, we do have another restream happening in about 4 hours. It will be 2 races running simultaneously: Chernobyl versus Atrix, DK versus Kegulus. We've got a fantastic pair of races happening soon-ish. That'll do it for me. Give one more shout out to our runners, Judgejoe and Beta, putting on a show for us, and our restreamer Camion, putting all this together. From here, we are going to raid out to go see High Spirits. Who is currently playing Dragon Quest Monsters Joker 2. I had to click on the full stream name to see what it was. Looks like an English translation patch. Everyone stay safe and be back and we'll see you for the next one.